everyone, welcome back to the session of English. In this session, we are going to begin a new chapter that is very interesting and important, that is reading comprehension. This is part 1. These type of questions you may encounter in SSC, MTS and other competitive exams as well. So let's begin the session. Now, first let's have an introduction of reading comprehension. This totally depends on the reading ability of a person. So, this chapter enhances our reading ability. Also, this will be very easy if our reading skills are very good. A reading comprehension is a common component of language comprehension tests and assessments. It is essentially a piece of text that is provided to a reader without any prior knowledge or context. The reader is expected to read and understand the passage, answer questions related to it, or perform various tasks to demonstrate their comprehension, critical thinking, and language skills. Now, you will be given a passage based on which you will be given some question and answers. For each question, there will be options as well. And we have to select that particular option that is the answer of that particular question. The questions will be related to passage only, so we can answer them according to the passage. We can also have synonym antonyms in form of questions from the passage given. May be possible the passage that is given to us, we do not have any knowledge about it, prior knowledge about it, because that piece of content we have never read before. So, the passage can be new or might be we know something about it. So, according to that passage, we have to answer the questions which are given to us. Unseen passages can vary widely. Reading comprehension is also called unseen passage because it is a passage which we have not seen before. Can vary widely. Vary means change. In terms of content, length, and complexity. It means in terms of content, it can vary. In terms of length, maybe in some exams you find small paragraphs, maybe in some exams you find bigger paragraph and so on. So it can vary in length as well. And complexity, it means the level of making you confuse. They may include excerpts from literature, scientific articles, historical documents, news reports, or any other form of written communication. So the passage can be taken from the part of literature, from scientific articles, from historical documents, from news reports, or any other form of written communication. So the passage can be of any theme, can be taken from any of these. The primary purpose of presenting an unseen passage is to evaluate the reader's ability to. Now, the primary purpose for this reading comprehension, why do we solve these type of questions in exams, or why these type of questions are given to us? First of all, comprehend the text. Comprehend means understand or make it in detail. Readers must be able to understand the main ideas, details, and nuances of the passage. Nuances means important facts, even without prior knowledge of the topic. Now, if we do not have any prior knowledge of that particular topic which is given to us, with the help of that passage, we are able to understand what is given in that particular passage. And it also enables us to read and enhance our reading skills and ability to comprehend something. Also, it enhances our logical ability. or the logical thinking. Extract information. Now, because the passage is given to us and the questions based on it are given to us, so something that has been asked in the question, we have to extract it from the passage. So it enables us to extract important information from the passage. We need not read the entire passage. We have to just extract the information from that particular passage, which are factful. They should be able to identify and extract relevant information. Only the relevant information we have to extract from it. Facts and arguments from the text. Infer meaning. Now, readers often need to infer the meaning of unfamiliar words or phrases based on the context provided in the passage. So, this is again very important. There are some words which are very difficult. We do not know the meaning of that particular word. But according to the passage, the sentence which is given to us in which that particular word is, we are able to infer that word's meaning or infer the meaning of that particular word which is given to us, which we do not know. So this enables us to infer, to make us figure out the meaning of that particular word. Analyze and evaluate. Now this is again a primary purpose. What? Depending on the assessment, readers might be asked to analyze the author's perspective, evaluate arguments, or draw conclusions from the passage. Now, this one is again very important. Now, depending on the assessment, it means whenever we read that particular passage, we try to figure out that why the author is writing this passage, or what is the opinion of that particular author about this particular thing. For example, if there is a political opinion and the author has written that particular passage, we can extract from that passage, or we can figure out from that passage that what opinion does the author keep. So this is very beneficial for us in case of analyze and evaluation. Then apply language skills. These passages also assess language skills such as grammar, vocabulary, and sentence structure. Now, how these passages apply language skills? These passages also assess language skills. For example, if we are reading the passage, we can assess the language skills because the passage is given or taken. The passage is taken from the paragraph, maybe from the newspaper. Now, after reading, because we know well that reading enables us learn grammar easily. So, by reading the passages, it enhances our vocabulary and the grammar and the sentence structures. We are able to make sentences after reading. Synthesize information. Now, in some cases, readers may be required to synthesize information from different parts of the passage to answer questions or complete tasks. Now, synthesize means to collect the relevant information or to draw the relevant information from the passages. Maybe some questions are there, the information of which we can directly see in the passage, or maybe sometimes we have to infer the meaning from the passage. So, this is again very important to solve a passage, and it enables us to make the reports, to make passages, to make essays about that particular thing. Now, let us move further. Now we have passage 1 to solve it. Now let's begin with some questions. Here we will be given some questions, passage 1, 2, and so on. And each passage has some questions which we have to answer. Now we have two types of passages. One is very lengthy and other are average. Now in this average comes a small length or very small length. If the length of passage is very small, we can read it very easily. But if it has a small length, then too, it requires only some part of it to be read. But if the passage is very lengthy, it is totally a time waste to read the entire passage, because in case of competitive exam, we have been given some time limit. So we do not have any time limit to read that particular passage or the entire passage carefully. But if our reading skills are very good, we can go through it. Just go through it as you go in the menu card of a restaurant. Likewise, we have to just analyze that paragraph. We have to just read a few lines in the beginning of the paragraph, in the middle of the paragraph, or in the last of the paragraph. But in case of small passages, we can read the entire passage carefully within 1 or 2 minutes, or within a few minutes. Now, to solve these type of passages, we go through the questions first. First, we see the questions and try to get its answer in the passage by just reading the cream part of the passage, or by just looking at the paragraph carefully where the word is given to us. So now, in this case, we have also given some paragraphs. Let us see how to solve this passage. For example, if we see this passage 1, this is 1, 2, 2 pages. This is in 2 pages. Though it is not difficult to read the entire passage, but here we will do these type of questions in both the manners. We'll read the paragraph and then answer it. But first of all, we'll try to not read the paragraph and just try to answer the questions from the passage just with an overview method. Now let us begin with the paragraph. Every profession of trade, every art and every science has its technical vocabulary, the function of which is partly to designate things or processes which have no names in ordinary English, and partly to secure greater exactness in nomenclature. Nomenclature refers to when something is given a name in case of scientific names, especially the scientific names. So that is called nomenclature. It's an art of giving names to some techniques, especially scientific one. Now, if we start reading the passage, we can conclude that this passage is somewhere about technical things. First thing that we see over here is technical vocabulary, because every profession or trade, every art and every science requires it and has it. So it is somewhere about technical discussion. Now let us see the question first. Special words used in technical discussion. Now here we are talking about special words used in technical discussion. So this is the question. Now let us see the options. May become part of common speech, never last long, should resemble mathematical formula, should be confined to scientific fields. Now let us come back to the paragraph. Special words used in technical discussion. So here we have talked about technical vocabulary. Now, such special dialects means the words or the speech which we are using, or jargons are necessary in technical discussion of any kind. So, being universally understood by devotees of the particular science of or art, they have precision of mathematical formula. But there it is written, should resemble mathematical formula. Now, here it is written, being universally understood by the devotees of the particular science or art, they have the precision of a mathematical formula. Thousands of these technical terms are very properly included in every large dictionary, yet, as a whole, they are rather on the outskirts of the English language than actually within its borders. Different occupations, however, differ widely in character. There are special vocabularies in trades and handicrafts, other vocations like farming and fishing that have occupied great numbers of men in remote times. The technical vocabulary is very old. An average man now uses in his own vocabulary. Now, this question which is given to us requires the conclusion part of the passage, that what we are concluding from the passage. So special words used in technical discussion, we have read that it becomes old with the time. So may become part of common speech, as it is given over here that remote times the technical vocabulary is very old. It means with time it becomes old. So it becomes the part of daily speech that the people in that particular trade are using it. So here we can conclude that may become part of common speech. Now let us move to the next one. The writer of this article is. Now, if we read the entire passage, we can conclude that it is written by a scientist, a politician, a linguist, or a businessman. Obviously, businessman will not write such type of article. Politician can write his views on political matters. Scientific or a scientist can write on scientific matters. But a linguist use the part of vocabulary and language. So it is written by a linguist. It must be written by a linguist. So our answer is C, because it is not directly given in the sentence or the paragraph, but according to the words used in passage, according to the opinion of the passage, according to the information that has been received from this passage, we can conclude that it must be written by a linguist. Now let us move to the next one. This passage is primarily concerned with. Now we have read the entire passage. Let us see the options. Various occupations and professions? No. Technical terminology, scientific undertakings, a new language. It is not about a new language, but it is about technical terminology. So this passage is primarily concerned with technical terminology or technical vocabulary. So our answer is B over here. Now let us move to the next one. It is true that now if these type of questions are given, we need to read the entire sentence carefully, because even a single word can differ the information as per given in the passage. Now let us read all the 4 options carefully and match them with the passage. Various professions and occupations often interchange words. There is always a non-technical word that may be situated for the technical word. The average man often uses in his own vocabulary what once technical language not meant for him. Or everyone is interested in scientific findings. Now let us match each and every line with the context of the passage. First is given, various professions and occupations often interchange words. Now let us see this part. Here it is written, different occupations, however, differ widely in the character of their special vocabularies. Now here it is not given that they interchange their words. In fact, their words are particular and with time they become old. In fact, it will be included in their common speech. So this statement cannot be true. There is always a non-technical word that may be substituted for the technical word. Now let us see this. In trades and handicrafts and other vocations like farming and fishing, they have occupied great numbers of men from remote times. The technical vocabulary is very old. Now, an average man now uses these in his own vocabulary. They save time, for it is much more economical to name process than to describe it. Thousands of these technical terms are very properly included in very large dictionary, yet as a whole they are rather on the outskirts of the English language than actually within its borders. But here it is not given that technical words will be substituted for some non-technical words. It is not given over here. So this statement is also incorrect. The average man often uses in his own vocabulary what one technical language not meant for him. But here it is written that an average man now uses these in his own vocabulary. It means he uses technical words in his own vocabulary. He is not mixing his vocabulary, or he is not using his vocabulary in place of technical. But here he is accepting or adapting that particular technical vocabulary in his own language. So according to that, this statement is also incorrect. Now, everyone is interested in scientific findings. Yes, this is obviously true because all the three statements are incorrect. So one has to be right. And it is also written over here that everyone is interested in scientific findings. It means when they are just enhancing the technical words, and in every trade we need scientific facts. That is why this statement is absolutely true. So our answer is D. So this was the first paragraph, out of which we have done all the 4 questions very easily and in time. We just took few seconds or few minutes to solve these questions. So this passage is not very difficult, though this passage was entirely based on the inferred context. Nothing is given directly, but we can easily infer the answers of that particular passage, or the answers of those particular questions. So this is quite easy. Now let us move to the next paragraph. I hope you understand this. Now let us read this paragraph. In May 1966, the World Health Organization was authorized to initiate a global campaign to eradicate smallpox. The goal was to eradicate the disease in 1 decade. Now, their goal was to eradicate this disease, that is smallpox, in 1 decade. Now, when we read this second line, it depicts that we are talking about smallpox and its eradication, because similar projects of malaria and yellow fever had failed. Few believed that smallpox could actually be eradicated, but 11 years after the initial organization of the campaign, no cases were reported in the field. So here, we can see that we are talking about the eradication of smallpox. Now let us see the questions first. Which of the following is the best title for the passage? The World Health Organization. Are we talking about the World Health Organization? No. The eradication of smallpox? Yes, we are talking about eradication of smallpox. With the starting 2 lines, we can conclude that we are talking about eradication of smallpox. We are not talking about smallpox vaccinations. We are not talking about infectious disease. Though these type of questions should be done at the end of the passage, because after all the questions, we have large amount of information from the passage. So it is easy to conclude that what the passage is about. So let us verify this question at the end of the paragraph. What was the goal of the campaign against smallpox? Now, this one is very easy: to decrease the spread of smallpox worldwide, to eliminate smallpox worldwide in 10 years, the provide to provide mass vaccinations against smallpox worldwide, to initiate worldwide projects for smallpox, malaria, and yellow fever at the same time. No, it is given to eliminate smallpox, or to eradicate. The goal was to eradicate smallpox in a decade. It is given over here. The goal was to eradicate the disease in 1 decade. 1 decade means 10 years. So the second statement is absolutely correct. So our answer is B. Now let us move to the next question. According to the paragraph, what was the strategy used to eliminate the spread of smallpox? Let us read the question again. According to the paragraph, what was the strategy used to eliminate the spread of smallpox? So there was some strategy which was used. Now let us read about it. No cases. The strategy, here it is given about the strategy. The strategy was not only to provide mass vaccinations, but also to isolate patients with active smallpox in order to contain the spread of the disease and to break the chain of human transmission. It means the people who were suffering from the disease of smallpox, they were quarantined or isolated. So let us see the options: vaccination of the entire village, treatment of individual victims, isolation of victims, and mass vaccinations. So this was the strategy. This is directly given in the sentence. So our answer is C. Very, very simple and easy. Now let us move to the next question. Which statement doesn't refer to smallpox? Now, this is very important. We have been given the question in reference of smallpox. It means there is a statement in the paragraph which is not said for the smallpox. The options are: previous projects had failed, people are no longer vaccinated for it, the World Health Organization mounted a worldwide campaign to eradicate the disease, it was a serious threat. We know well that it was a serious threat, so it has talked about smallpox only. In this statement, see, the World Health Organization mounted a worldwide campaign to eradicate the disease. This is also given over here, that was authorized to initiate a global campaign to eradicate smallpox. So this statement is also about passage. So this cannot be the answer. People are no longer vaccinated for it. Now let us see this option. At the end of this paragraph, we can see routine vaccinations have been stopped worldwide. So according to this, the given statement, people are no longer vaccinated for it, this is true. So these three statements are true. Now, previous projects had failed. The previous projects were for malaria and yellow fever that had failed. So the previous projects were not for smallpox, they were for malaria and yellow fever, and those had failed. But the project which was taken to eradicate smallpox worked, it did not fail. Therefore, only this statement is not in reference with smallpox. So our answer is A. This is very, very simple. It is given in the passage only. Now let us move to the next one. It can be inferred that no new cases of smallpox have been reported this year. Malaria and yellow fever have been eliminated. Smallpox victims no longer die when they contract disease. Smallpox is not transmitted from one person to another. Now let us see the options one by one. No new cases of smallpox have been reported this year. This option 1 is not given in the passage. In fact, it is given that smallpox is no longer a threat to humanity. It means a person suffers from smallpox today as well, but it is not a threat at all. The next option is malaria and yellow fever have been eliminated. No, it is not given in the passage. In fact, it is given, did the project for this to eliminate these had been failed. So this is incorrect statement. Smallpox victims no longer die when they contract the disease. Yes, because it is not a threat. Smallpox is not transmitted from one person to another. This is incorrect because obviously it is transmitted from one person to another. That is why a person having smallpox is quarantined or isolated. So answer is C. Answer is C. So these were the two passages that we read in this session. In the next session, we'll do some more paragraphs. Thank you very much. I hope you understood the passage carefully and you know well how to solve it.